I was invited, by the way, to join the Knights of Malta at one point.
Why do you think you were invited? Because you started to brush up against their...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I declined.
Why'd you decline?
First of all, I was being invited to participate in some kind of initiation ritual in Malta. And I happened to know that the fellow who invited me had a track record of recording people involved in sex acts and using it as blackmail material and so on and so forth. Okay? So I was not about to go to Malta.
Some sort of like Epstein.
And besides, by the way, it's just that kind of thing. Okay? And he was a member of a dozen different secret societies, this guy, at a high level, including the Knights of Malta. I would never join any such organization, just for the record. Masons tried to get me at one point, high-level Masons wanted to bring me in. I will never join any such organization, because at the moment you do that, you lose your independence. So anyway, but absolutely, this stuff, I've heard the same stuff about Dulles and, witnessing the saucer in Czechoslovakia and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Alan Dulles, which I think we briefly did touch on in our first conversation, is that, it might have been actually when we were on the phone, Alan Dulles and his brother, John Foster Dulles, funded the rise of the Nazis. Together with J.P. Morgan Chase and Rockefeller from out of New York.
Yeah, so did Prescott Bush.
Oh, yeah. And so, look, the point is this, that in a lot of ways, both Paperclip and the absorption of the Galen Network were a homecoming. It's almost as if Nazi Germany was set up as a field laboratory to do some highly unethical things, which would then be harvested back to America.
So is your world model or mental model something like there's like an elite strata, and these are the names we're throwing out now, people who some of whom come from these older families, some of whom are just like, the kind of elite ruling class of the United States, that might be coordinated with, either incidentally or deliberately, with this sort of non-human faction, or not even non-human faction. You don't like that word, this sort of Nordic overlord faction or something.
Yeah, but it's even more of a tangled web than that, you see, because of the time element that I was talking about. It could be that some of these elites have had contact with these Nordics for a long time. But there's another possibility, too. It's a possibility, which, I speculatively investigate in Closer Encounters. And that's that these elites become the Nordics. That if you look at how obsessed these people were with eugenics, I lay it out in Closer Encounters at length, how many of these elites in America, in Britain, in Germany, but people think that like somehow the Nazis came up with eugenics. No, they were playing catch up. The Nazi leadership was saying like, these Americans are going to dominate the world with all their eugenics programs. We better like catch up fast. The world leader in eugenics from the 1890s until the 1930s was the United States of America.
Yeah, well, and then they got it from people like Cecil Rhodes and, a lot of, 19th century like phrenology and that sort of thing.
Yes, but when you look back at that era, all the top scientists, the top political decision makers, federal judges, and certainly the aristocrats were ardently pro-eugenics.
Yeah.
Okay? Even like Margaret Sanger and people who you think these days are associated with the left and like Planned Parenthood and all that, they were ardent eugenicists. Now, if you combine eugenics, in other words, the will to create a master race, together with occultism, right? Early psychical research and cultivation of occult abilities, together with exotic propulsion technology, it converges on what the Nordics become. So for all we know, I said Ouroboros earlier, right? What's happening is that a future state of a certain culture is contacting itself in the past and reinforcing itself in the past.
And trying to pull the timeline towards itself or something.
To actualize itself. Transtemporally actualize itself. Yes.
It's very interesting. And so do you think there would be competing factions, like the Nordics would be fighting against other possible timeline variants that want to actualize themselves?
I think that's who the Asuras are. So, we have throughout all of human mythology this account of rebel gods or rebel angels who break with the program, right? And Sanskrit texts call them the Asuras. The Greeks call them the Titans. But they're in every mythology of the planet. It's always this rebel faction that exists that's trying to break free from the control system. So yes, I think so. And, I think Lynn's story is another corroboration of that there's people who don't like the program and they don't like the society they're from.
But I don't know, this idea that the Nordics or whatever are this homogenous sort of, one world authoritarian, government, these sort of perfect people who've been eugenicized to no end, and then they're fighting this sort of rebel angel faction. Doesn't that feel too clean? Like, what if there are factions of the Nordics that are good or whatever? Yeah, I just don't know, Or do you think that?
Here's a statement that Peter Thiel made when he was being asked about the close encounter phenomenon on Rogan is very relevant.
If you have faster than light travel, there's something really crazy that has to be true on a cultural, political, social level. And there may be other solutions, but I'll give you my two. One of them is that you need complete totalitarian controls. And it is the individuals, they might not be perfect, they might be demons, doesn't matter, but you have a demonic totalitarian control of your society where it's like you have like parapsychological mind meld with everybody, and no one can act independently of anybody else. No one can ever launch a warp drive weapon. And everybody who has that ability is in like a mind meld link with everybody else or something like that. You can't have libertarian, individualistic free agency.
Right.
And then I think the other version socially and culturally is they have to be like perfectly altruistic, non-self-interest. They have to be angels. And so the Pazulka literal thing I'd come to is the aliens, it's not that they might be demons or angels, they must be demons or angels if you have faster than light travel.
Yeah, he's basically saying it's either angels or
demons. And that's the language he used, which I take exception to that, angels or demons, because I think maybe in a Nietzschean fashion, the moral evaluation there needs to be flipped. That the angels are the ones controlling the totalitarian, hierarchical, mind-melded, hive-minded system. By the way, and I used to teach comparative religion. In all the Abrahamic religions, one thing that they consistently say about the angels is that they have no will of their own. The angels have no real individuality. They have no real will of their own. They do the will of God, which like binds them together with a single purpose. That's like a totalitarian society controlled by an AI. Okay? Now I'm going to go somewhere really disturbing with this, but it's
an angel just means messenger generically, so it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Evangelos, and the Hebrew original meant the same thing. And so, like, for example, the angels who come to Abraham, they're three men. And they did look particularly beautiful because the one who goes to Sodom to retrieve Lot, the lecherous men want to have sex with this guy because he's so good looking. And by the way, the Nordics are known for that. And they're known to be like super good looking people. They look like supermodels, basically. Colonel Alexander, when he told me the story of the couple of Nordics that he saw in the casino hotel in Las Vegas, he said they were like that too. They were like out of the pages of a fashion magazine. Anyway, place I want to go from there about the angels, the angelic hierarchy, and why, in fact, it would be so simple. You said it seems too simple. Gods versus Titans, right? Devas versus Asuras. No, for the reason Thiel gave. You would have exactly that bifurcation. And it would be a very black and white conflict between an extremely repressive, hierarchical, totalitarian society that allows for almost no individuation. And on the other hand, individuals who don't want to live in such a world and who are trying to find a way to carve out some space of freedom. But who have the same technology. And so the disturbing place I want to go from there is relevant to the subject of my latest book, which is a study of the afterlife, death, the transitional state, Tibetans call the Bardo state, and rebirth, evidence for reincarnation, so on and so. And in the course of researching this book, I've looked into a lot of cases that are filtered out of the hippy-dippy woo-woo narrative about near-death experiences. In particular, one of the most famous is an account that Robert Monroe, who founded the, Monroe Institute and so forth, that the CIA used to use sometimes as a place to conduct advanced remote viewing. Robert Monroe, in his second book, Far Journeys, I think from 1985, basically says that in the course of his astral projections, he discovered that we're living in a control system that is managed by entities who work for a demiurge that's harvesting us for what he called loosh. He said that we're in a loosh farm, that humans are being deliberately subjected to conditions that create extreme emotional states. Extreme suffering, misery, fear, terror, ecstasy, extreme desire, pathological impulses, and these are all being used to basically generate a form of energy that they can harvest from the human soul, including after death, where they basically juice souls for the loosh. Now, there was also a researcher called Carla Turner, who I believe was killed, even though she supposedly died of cancer at the age of 48. The CIA has something that mimics a very fast-acting cancer, and they've used this on a number of occasions to kill prominent people, I believe also including the Shah of Iran.
Really?
Yeah.
Who else?
Do you remember Peter Jennings did this special on UFOs? Do you remember that? In the night, whenever it was that he died, shortly before his death, he did this huge special on UFOs for which he had recorded like days and days worth of footage with all kinds of prominent whistleblowers. And it was supposed to air on primetime television.
Is that true?
With him as the narrator. Yeah, they aired it, but what they aired excluded 90% of the material.
I didn't know that. Peter Jennings did a UFO special, including a lot of whistleblowers.
Extensive.
I had no idea.
Like, it was supposed to be like a multi-part program that would air over weeks or something. And he records this thing, gets cancer, drops dead.
Really?
Like within a year of like this program airing.
I had no idea. I didn't know about any of this.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Peter,
So I think
he
that's
was like
another...
Walter Cronkite 2.0.
That's right. So that's another case of it.
What?
And so I think Carla Turner was killed by this. In any case, Carla Turner did interviews with a lot of experiencers, abductees, who reported the same kinds of things as Robert Monroe did in Far Journeys, where they said that we are in a control system that's being managed from out of a metallic sphere just beyond the Earth.
Different parts of the brain have different activities.